Everyone, it's Leah Love again for another edition of my videos. This time I am doing a series, as you may have seen in my last video, that's called Debunking the Myth. And I have posted out on social media asking folks some of the topics that we feel is super important in terms of debunking the myths that are being, spread out all over the internet and social media by the Democrats and the leftists. And it's really important. I really wanted to cover this series because, unfortunately, far too many people that I know, and I'm sure you also know, tend to get their information from friends or from family or even from mainstream media. And they have not yet caught on to the fact that the mainstream media is just a show. It's a fake organization that is basically acting as deep state propagandists. They get a script and they run with it and they repeat it all day long for 24/7. And it's their way of, brainwashing the people. And those of us who have awakened from that terrible slumber realize just how damaging it is, especially amongst a vast majority of people who don't seem to find it important to research for themselves or look at different materials and different sources. Unfortunately, you can't say, oh, if you're listening to CNN, you need to go check out NBC because they're all the same thing. But what's really important that I want to share with you all is that the information is out there. You literally just have to type it in, probably on a different browser than Google because they're also a part of it, and only show you what they want you to see and neglect many other sources that are truthful. And so the information is there, but I thought, why not just do some research on my own as well? Because prior to being red pilled and becoming, a conservative, or an independent conservative, I tended to believe what people said, and I wasn't into politics and didn't care, didn't watch the mainstream media either. And so I just kind of would hear things here and there and just be like, oh, yeah, that's probably true. But now I'm doing the research myself and I want to share that with you. So here's the myth number 2 that I want to share, which is that Donald Trump is a racist. And I hear it, especially from Black Americans, so many times ad nauseum. They repeat the same 5 or 6 examples that are false as to the fact that, in their belief that Trump is racist. And so today I'm going to show you a video which will clearly show you how many times he has denounced white supremacy, Nazis, and racism. And that's not even counting all of the countless acts and that he's done over the past 30, 35 years, as well as the very close friends who are speaking out now about the type of character he is, including his biracial ex-girlfriend who he lived with for almost 2 years prior to meeting Melania. And so that's for another story. But today, let's go ahead and listen to this really, really wonderful clip that's going to give you countless times when he has denounced it, despite the fact that mainstream media repeats it about 80 times an hour for 24/7, that he refuses to denounce white supremacy. So let's check it out.
He has yet once to condemn white supremacy, the neo-Nazis. He hasn't condemned the darn thing.
We are a country that stands united in condemning hate and evil in all of its very ugly forms. The anti-Semitic threats targeting our Jewish community and community centers are horrible and are painful and a very sad reminder of the work that still must be done to root out hate and prejudice and evil. About the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America. Love for America requires love for all of its people. When we open our hearts to patriotism, There is no room for prejudice, no place for bigotry, and no tolerance for hate. We have it in our power, should we so choose, to lift millions from poverty, to help our citizens realize their dreams, and to ensure that new generations of children are raised free from violence, hatred, and fear. We want our country to be a place where every child from every background can grow up free from fear, innocent of hatred, and surrounded by love, opportunity, and hope. There must be no tolerance for anti-Semitism in America or for any form of religious or racial hatred or prejudice. We must never ignore the vile poison of anti-Semitism or those who spread its venomous creed. With one voice, we must confront this hatred anywhere and everywhere it occurs. We forcefully condemn the evil of anti-Semitism and hate, which must be defeated. In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. You've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure.
David Duke and robocalls are out again, the white supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow. David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I've disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously it's never enough.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions over the years.
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow. I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
David Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it.
And you don't want the supporters?
No, I don't want anything.
What do you think of white supremacists, by the way?
I don't like any group of hate.
David Duke announced his Senate candidacy, claiming your agenda.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said every Republican should repudiate this guy no matter what it takes.
And I do. Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked.
Rebuked.
Done.
Do you want white supremacists to vote for you?
No, I don't at all. Not at all.
His campaign is denouncing a show of support from the KKK's official newspaper, as in the Ku Klux Klan.
In the same New York Times interview, he denounced white supremacists. He denounced the neo-Nazis who support him.
I spoke out forcefully against hatred, bigotry, and violence, and strongly condemned the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, and the KKK.
President Donald Trump signed a congressional joint resolution that condemns white supremacy, neo-Nazis, and other hate groups.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Any group of hate, I don't like it. Any group of hate, I am, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's any other kind of supremacy, whether it's Antifa, whether it's any group of hate, I am very concerned about it, and I'll do something about it.
They're stoking fears about black and brown Americans.
And so there you have it. Like, how much more evidence do you need of Trump denouncing repeatedly that he is not a racist, that he denounces white supremacy, Nazi groups, and everything else, but yet and still the mainstream media continues to say that he has not denounced these racist groups. I don't know what else to tell you. And if you still believe it, it's just because you're being willfully dishonest. I mean, I'm just going to say it like that, because at this point, seriously, your programming is real. This is Leah Love. Thank you for watching me once again. I am going to continue with this series. I've got some great stuff coming up in addition to this series. And so I would love for you to subscribe, share my content, as well as hit the notification bells. And I will see you next time. Take care.